Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to explore a fascinating journey that each of us is on, the process of aging. But instead of focusing on decline, we're going to talk about something incredibly empowering, healthy aging. We'll demystify what's actually happening inside our bodies as we move through our 30s, 40s, and 50s, not to instill fear, but to equip you with knowledge. Because understanding these natural shifts is the first step towards embracing them and making choices that support a vibrant, healthy life at every stage. Our bodies are incredible, constantly adapting and evolving, and by truly listening to them, we can navigate these changes with grace and strength. Let's begin by understanding what aging really means in this context. It's not a sudden event, but a continuous, gradual process of physiological changes that occur at the cellular level. Think of it as a finely tuned biological clock that impacts everything from our metabolism to our muscle fibers, our skin's elasticity, and our hormone levels. These changes are programmed into our DNA, influenced by our genetics, but profoundly shaped by our lifestyle choices. When we talk about healthy aging, we're talking about optimizing those choices to mitigate the less desirable aspects of these natural transitions, preserving function, vitality, and quality of life for as long as possible. As we step into our 30s, many of us might still feel like we're in our prime, and in many ways we are. However, this decade marks the subtle beginning of some significant shifts. One of the most common changes people notice is a slight slowdown in their metabolism. That effortlessly lean physique you might have maintained in your 20s without much thought can suddenly require more effort. This isn't just in your head. Scientifically, it's often due to a gradual decrease in lean muscle mass, even if you're active. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns more calories at rest than fat tissue. As we subtly lose muscle, our basal metabolic rate, the energy our body needs just to exist, can decrease by a small percentage each decade. Alongside this, our bones reach their peak density around age 30, and from this point, a very gradual decline can begin, where the rate of bone resorption, breaking down old bone, starts to slightly outpace bone formation, building new bone. On the surface, you might start to see the faintest of fine lines around your eyes or mouth. As collagen and elastin, the proteins responsible for skin's firmness and elasticity, begin their slow, natural reduction. The scientific explanation here is simply that our bodies become slightly less efficient at producing and repairing these essential structural components, a process influenced by genetic factors and exacerbated by sun exposure, stress, and poor nutrition. To navigate these initial shifts, the practical tip is clear. Prioritize consistent strength training to preserve muscle mass, incorporate calcium and vitamin D-rich foods for bone health, and stay hydrated, protecting your skin from the sun. A common mistake here is assuming your body can still handle the same dietary and exercise habits as your early 20s without adjustments. Moving into our 40s, these earlier subtle changes often become a bit more noticeable, and new ones emerge. For many, this is the decade where reading glasses become a familiar accessory, thanks to a condition called presbyopia. This isn't about your vision weakening, but rather the lens of your eye losing its elasticity and ability to change shape to focus on close objects. Scientifically, it's due to the natural hardening and thickening of the lens over time. Joint stiffness might also start to creep in, a result of years of wear and tear, and a slight reduction in the lubricating fluid within joints. For women, the late 40s can introduce perimenopause, a transitional phase before menopause where hormone levels, particularly estrogen, begin to fluctuate more wildly. This can lead to irregular periods, hot flashes, mood swings, and changes in sleep patterns. Men also experience a gradual decline in testosterone, sometimes referred to as andropause, which can affect energy levels, muscle mass, and libido, though typically at a much slower and less dramatic rate than female hormonal shifts. Our cardiovascular system also warrants closer attention. Blood vessels can become a little stiffer, and blood pressure might start to trend upwards. The scientific reasoning behind these hormonal shifts lies in the natural biological programming of our reproductive systems, signaling a winding down of fertility. Practical advice for your 40s involves regular eye checkups, incorporating low-impact exercises like swimming or yoga to support joint health, and paying close attention to your heart health through a balanced diet, regular exercise, and routine blood pressure checks. Open communication with your doctor about hormonal symptoms is crucial. A common mistake is dismissing new aches, pains, or significant mood shifts as just getting older without seeking professional advice, potentially missing opportunities for effective management. By the time we reach our 50s, the body is undergoing more profound and often accelerated changes, particularly for women who typically experience menopause in this decade. Menopause marks the permanent cessation of menstruation, driven by a significant and rapid drop in estrogen levels. This hormonal shift has wide-ranging impacts. It can accelerate bone density loss, increasing the risk of osteoporosis, and it changes lipid profiles, potentially increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. For both men and women, muscle mass continues its decline if not actively maintained, leading to a phenomenon known as sarcopenia, which makes everyday tasks feel more challenging and increases the risk of falls. Cognitive function can also see changes. While not a universal decline, some individuals may notice a slight slowing of processing speed or occasional memory lapses. This is often linked to subtle changes in brain structure and function, including reduced blood flow or changes in neurotransmitter levels. Skin becomes thinner, drier, and less elastic as collagen and elastin production further diminish, and cellular turnover slows down. Our immune system also tends to become a bit less robust, making us potentially more susceptible to infections. The scientific explanation for these accelerated changes largely centers on the cumulative effects of years of cellular replication, exposure to environmental stresses, and the significant hormonal recalibrations. To thrive in your 50s, robust practical tips include a strong emphasis on weight-bearing and strength-training exercises to combat bone and muscle loss, a nutrient-dense diet rich in antioxidants, calcium, and vitamin D, and continued engagement in mentally stimulating activities to support cognitive health. Regular preventive screenings, like colonoscopies and mammograms, become even more vital. A common mistake is to become sedentary, believing that older bodies are too fragile for intense activity, when in fact, targeted exercise is more crucial than ever for maintaining independence and vitality. Ultimately, these changes after 30, 40, and 50 are not signs of failure, but rather natural phases in the incredible journey of human life. Healthy aging isn't about stopping the clock. It's about making conscious, informed choices every day that empower us to live fully and vibrantly through every decade. It's about understanding our evolving physiology, adjusting our habits proactively, and forming a collaborative relationship with our healthcare providers. By embracing movement, nourishing our bodies with wholesome foods, managing stress, fostering strong social connections, and continuously engaging our minds, we can profoundly influence how we experience these natural transitions. So let's choose to view aging not as a decline, but as an opportunity to cultivate resilience, wisdom, and enduring well-being. Your body is doing its best to carry you through life. Understanding it better is the greatest gift you can give yourself.